Do you want to connect, meet, and communicate with your guides? Let me tell you, this is an experience that you will never forget, and it's a connection that will stay with you for life. Hi, and welcome here. My name is Evette Bros, and I'm so thrilled to have you here with me today to join me here for this profound topic of how to communicate with your guides. And for those of you who are new, I'm best and well known for having written this big book called Metaphysical Anatomy, which is a big book of 679 medical elements and the psychosomatic stress of that for adults. And of course, we have a children's version of this book as well, Psychosomatics of Children. I'm very, very excited about this. And this book is something that my guides definitely helped me to write as well. And guys, also, I have a workshop that's called Intuitive Body Workshop, where you will learn to how to understand and read messages of the body. Learn, understand these psychosomatic messages. It's so exciting. And it's actually like read the body like a book. Learn and understand what certain pain means when you have a certain ailment. What is the emotional stress behind that? You don't even need this book in order to be able to do that. And I'm going to be teaching you how to open up your intuition, how to find your own intuitive reading style, how to do remote viewings, and also how to intuitively read your own body and other people's bodies as well. It is so much fun. And we also have on Wednesdays, weekly masterclasses where you can join us, where we tackle life challenges. And these are fast-track masterclasses. They are a ton of fun. Now, first of all, the reason why I love this topic so much is because of the process that I myself went through when I started to discover my spirit guides. Do you remember when you were a child? Everything just was the way that it was because you didn't really have a higher reference for life, right? So it's this kind of normal that I'm now referring to. So when spirits were talking to me, it was normal. When I saw colors or different auras, for me, it was just another day. And then until I started to open up my mouth and I started to talk to people and share what I was hearing, feeling, and seeing and sensing. And the feedback was tremendously unsupportive, to put it politely, from people around me. Now, it's this feedback that can make or break a person's confidence in their connection with their spirit guides. Because fear and stress and all these strong emotions can have a very negative impact on how we connect with our angels and our spirit guides. Now, connecting with my guides and with my angels is something that has tremendously helped me in my life because it helped me to learn how to reconnect with these beautiful beings. And it improved so many aspects of myself as well. And to reestablish also that connection. That was the hardest. And our guides, these spirit guides, they are always there. They are always around us. You know, sometimes when we see signs, sometimes maybe you'll see numbers coming and going. Sometimes you hear certain music tracks playing, and it just gives you the message what you were looking for. Now, these are all beautiful ways that our guides actually communicate with us. And if we're not looking for these signs, then it's going to be a lot harder to receive certain answers to questions that we might have in life, which means we need to be open to receive. So now I look forward to diving into this topic here with you guys. So a warm welcome to you. And I'm going to be diving into how to communicate with our spirit guides. Now, being intuitive and also connecting to guides, as I said, was also a very big journey for me, because many of you also probably know me from this book, which I showed you earlier, Metaphysical Anatomy. Now, this is a really big book, and this big book that I channeled and work also with, along with the support of my guides. Now, being able to connect to our guides and to be able to maintain that connection is important, but negativity and negative emotions can disrupt that connection. Now, I came from a home that was very dysfunctional, and I was also the only child. My dad was a drug addict and alcoholic, and my mom was always the peacekeeper in the house, always trying to keep things together. There was a lot of chaos in living with such a volatile person like my dad. And I remember I always had these two beings, and they were two beings that was always around me, always giving me encouraging words, always giving me a feeling of safety and protection. and it's their presence that helped me to feel safe in my life. But I never really truly saw wings or anything specific. It was more just these floating auras, if that's what I can say, with very beautiful, pleasant colors, changing colors, very fluorescent, very calming, and very soothing. And as I mentioned, as a child, when you grow up in this way, you assume that this is just normal, that this is an experience that everyone else is having. But I did find out later on in life that this was not the case. Now, the thing here is that children tend to hear, feel, see, or sense, and communicate with their guides 100 times faster than adults. Now, the reason is that they haven't been preconditioned. They don't have negative associations with guides or with spirits talking to them, especially the friendly and supportive ones. Now, when we communicate with them, there's a lot of barriers and blocks as adults. Now, how many of you have had moments where you're like, where is my guides? Where are you guys? Why are you hiding from me? Why are you not talking to me, damn it? Now, why are you not communicating? We've all been there, and I have absolutely been there as well. Now, it is this point where I beautifully connected to them, and then I also disconnected from them because I was told that they were imaginary friends. Now, what was interesting is that these imaginary friends would also tell me on days and moments when it would be better to stay in my room. Don't interact with your dad, he will get violent. There were all these beautiful, supportive little messages that always came to me. The children are born intuitive until life happens, and how people respond to a child's intuition can make or break that beautiful connection that they have with it. So this is definitely a part of us that we can switch into a vibration that goes beyond the physical frequency, which is the human body. Now, this is where we can start to hear, feel, see, or sense information and become more sensitive by using our body's senses to help us to interpret messages of the body and to interpret messages from our guides. Because remember, when guides communicate with us, this is now one thing that people don't always fully understand. And that's why people think, well, my guides are not really talking to me. Well, guides talk to us through sensations in our body. That's why I'm bringing up the topic of the body and emotions and sensations, because that is how our intuition is communicated through us. Because the biggest stress and the biggest pain point that we have is that we are allergic in a funny way, in a funny way. Like we're so resistant to feeling our emotions. We have a resistance to feeling. That's a problem because our emotions are like a GPS of the soul. That's your soul. And that consciousness of your soul is speaking through you. It's communicating through you and into this dense vibration of the body that holds all these negative emotions. So you're going to have a really hard time to interpret accurately messages from your soul's consciousness through this dense body with negative emotions, because this high vibration is trying to get through to this very negative vibration. So if you haven't learned to befriend your body, then interpreting your intuition and your emotions and to decipher that message is going to be very challenging. Now, why would I say that? How does all of this come together? Well, number one, have you noticed, and I know that you've had these moments where you did have an intuitive message and you were like, wow, okay, now I have a message. How did you become aware of that message? You might have heard it, almost like, or you might have seen maybe an image in your third eye. You might have felt it through sensations in your body. Maybe you felt really heavy. Maybe you felt really excited. Or maybe like something was grabbing your attention. Now here, you are now becoming consciously aware of your senses. And you have more than just 5 senses. There are so many senses that the physical body has. So let's talk about these senses. And that now also allows us to interpret this energetic information that's coming through. Because it's through these sensations and senses that we are able to open up our intuition. So that's why befriend your body, befriend your emotions, and voila, you get to connect to your intuition, because that is how the consciousness of the quantum field and our guides actually communicate with us. If you are emotionally blocked, or you feel shut down or numb, your intuition is going to feel shut down. It's not that you don't have an intuition. You do, 100%. Yes, you do. You are born with this God-given intuitive gift. But if you don't like to feel your feelings and you have a negative associations with emotions, it's going to be challenging. Now, I understand that because my life was not a walk in the park. And I can assure you that there was a lot of childhood trauma. There was a lot of abuse, there was a lot of pain, and there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression that was felt. Now, this is where we start to associate negative associations with feeling. Now, we start to associate negative sensations with emotions. Now, look at what subconsciously is happening. We are actually forming subconscious rigidity and also rejection towards these emotions and sensations, which we need to understand in order to decipher how intuitive messages work. Now, another other challenge that we also face when trying to communicate with our guides and our body and spirits as well is also the type of question that we ask them. Sometimes we ask a question and we are very unsure of the answer, or maybe we have fears connected to specific expectations of this answer or the question. Now, if that's the case, you're probably already now going to feel very blocked and not hear the answer. Why? Because the quantum field and how information is delivered does not communicate through rigidity. It needs to be in the flow with you, which means you also have to be in the flow, and you cannot control it. So when we try to be controlling, we move into a very rigid frequency. And the only way that you can influence it is by setting clear intentions that are not fear-based and that's not full of rigidity. Because remember, the universe communicates a lot more effectively through neutral approaches. Maybe like using questions that are not charged with fear. Because fear repels and it alters the vibration of how this meta energy comes forward. That's why I wrote this book, Metaphysical Anatomy, because the word meta in metaphysical, it means there's that space between you and me. When you interact with someone, you might intuitively sense their emotions without any direct evidence. You feel it, you sense it, you know it's there, but even though their face doesn't show it, that is your intuition working. Now, these messages and how we interpret them, stemming from the space between you and me, that's very important. Because even though we can't see what's happening, we can feel it. And this sensitivity is your senses communicating through the body's intense vibrations. And I say intense vibrations because if you have negative emotions, they are very, very intense vibrations, very low vibrations. And all this can, for example, be stemming from our ego, fear, being competitive, trauma, anxiety, and depression. All this can lower our heart frequency, affecting our reception to intuitive messages. Because we as humans, we communicate with each other in very similar ways, which I will dive into more a little bit in my intuitive body workshop, which is all about how to read the body like a book. It is so much fun. And I teach how to read the body. So here in that workshop, we will open up your intuition, understand why the body behaves certain ways, and experiencing pain, frustrations, and sensations, and the blocked emotions behind that as well. How to do remote viewings, how to do intuitive readings, and how to find your own unique intuitive reading style. But now, coming back to the point that I was making, if you ask a question that's charged with fear, if you are in resistance to receiving the answer, you're telling the universe, I don't want to know, right? And this blocks the answer. So now trauma associated with a question can really complicate things, especially if you're asking on behalf of someone else. For instance, if you're always asking whether someone will leave you or maybe you have abandonment trauma, it can really trigger your fear of abandonment, making it very challenging to interpret that divine message without your emotional filters causing stress. So if we don't distinguish between when we are being triggered and when a divine message is coming forward, we really truly can misinterpret messages. This is where the art of reconnecting with your guides now come in. Now, I experienced a phase of disconnection during my troubled teenage years that was marked by a lot of trauma, a lot of anger, frustration. And I even punished my guides and told them to just get out of my life. I felt like, well, why are you not helping me? Why is all these bad things happening to me? And at that time, I really truly felt very lonely. It wasn't that they abandoned me, but they did respect my need for space. So when I tried to call them to come back, I was met with a lot of subconscious resistance because I ended up not realizing it, but I associated their presence with lack of support. Now, our senses are incredibly sensitive, and also our attempts to communicate with our guides as well. Now, it's not just about them working through our resistance. The quantum field plays a very big role as well because it holds the space for so much information to be transmitted back and forth. Now, the primary reason for these challenges is the fear of feeling your intuition or the fear of receiving the answer to your question. Now, a sense of rigidity in your relationship to the process or a history of religious abuse that associates angels and spirits with religion, this can also play a very powerful role in determining how easy it will be for you to receive messages or not. Now, another common block when communicating with guides is also asking questions and expecting a specific response, because this expectation can cause problems. And spirits have to connect with our frequency and our state of mind that we're in when we ask the question as well can filter these responses in unexpected ways. So, expecting a message to manifest exactly as you envision it can actually be a pitfall. Whether you expect to intuitively see a message or suddenly feel it instead of sensing it or seeing it. So your focus can actually blind you to other forms of receiving answers. And did you also know that if you have unresolved trauma with your mother or your father, but especially the mother figure here, it's likely that you might fear connecting with spirit guides or your intuition. Why? Because the mother is a child's earliest connection to the world. And this can greatly influence how we perceive all connections in life. So now, if we've been raised religiously, you might associate your relationship with an authority figure, such as a mother, with a divine. And subconsciously, this can lead to a fear of connecting with your intuition, meaning connecting to the divine. So you see, a fear of trust can also pose a problem. So when you receive, for example, information but don't trust the answers, you might dismiss them. Now, this lack of trust can lead to negative outcomes and create further trauma related to trust. And your ability to work with your intuition can be hindered by these trust issues. So the way intuition presents itself can fluctuate. So some days you might see, hear, or know, or sense the information. And this fluctuation depends actually on your emotional state, your thoughts in the moment as well, and the availability of your senses. Therefore, it is really important to recognize the impact of your emotions and thoughts, and also your intuitive abilities. And this is also why intuition varies. Now, that's a very important aspect to remember. And I hope that some of you are already having like a aha moment or thinking, wow, this is making a lot of sense now. Because when we also consider the RAS, which is the reticular activating system, it plays a significant role in your intuition and also in your ability to connect with your guides. Why? Because the RAS that's located in the brain filters in sensations from your environment based on what you are focusing on, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So, when you have, for example, a bad mood, or you're upset, or you feel really angry, now you may be more likely to relate to people, sensations, and circumstances outside of you who feel the same. And this is because of the RAS, which filters in what you focus on. Therefore, When working with your intuition, it's very helpful to be in a really nice, calm and meditative, relaxed state because your RAS is more open and receptive to information. Now, I'm very excited for you. If you would love to learn more, I would highly recommend that you join my Intuitive Body Workshop. You will love it so much. You will learn also so much about how to read the body, how to do remote viewings, how to do so many amazing things, as well as also find your intuitive reading style and open up also your intuition. And so now I would love to do a healing meditation with you. And I invite you now that you can sit down or you can lie down, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And let's start by taking a nice deep breath. And now, I invite you to find yourself in an open space. I invite you to visualize yourself standing there. And there's a big waterfall also in that space. Feel the water flowing from your head, down your body, down, 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 out your face. Releasing and rinsing away any stress. Feeling it drain out of you as your body starts to relax even more and more. You'll notice that the space within you is opening up, allowing you to drop into an even more relaxed state. Feeling the surface beneath your body, allowing it to hold you and support you. Notice now how your muscles relax one by one. And by allowing your muscles to relax, you find your body becoming more and more quiet, easing into a sense of calm. And now, focus your imagination back on this open space. And have the intention to call in your guides who are in the highest and best alignment for you today to come forward. And I invite you, let go of any expectations and be neutral. And just say, hello. And as you do so, pay now attention to all your senses. What do you hear, feel, see, sense, or just know? Is there colors, symbols, sensations? Anything can come forward. And now, know that whatever message came forward was perfect in this moment. And if it was maybe not a positive message, then know that maybe a negative spirit came in. And if so, just say, I command you to leave my space right now. And so it is. And remember, that's why we always say allowing our guides to come forward in the highest and best way for us. And if you want to do this again, just say again, hello, how are you? Or you can even say, do you have a message for me? And notice your senses. Have awareness of all your senses. At the same time, be open to anything. And be open to receiving information in any way possible. Like I sometimes receive messages through flashes of images combined with emotions. I'm going to give you a few more seconds to connect to that. And now, when you are ready, take a nice deep breath. Let's thank our guides for being here with us today and for supporting us in this exercise. And when you're ready, bring your full focus and awareness to the bottom of your feet. Bring your full focus and awareness to the bottom of your feet. Allowing it to ground you and anchor you. Feeling yourself balanced, back in the here and now, back in the body. And gently start to come back. Thank you for being here with me today and for your love and your time as well. And remember, you can find out so much more about our workshops at evetterose.com. And until then, bye.
So guys, there you have it. Also remember to subscribe to my channel, stay up to date. And also I have a free Mac membership website where we have so many courses up there. There's meditations, there's workshops, whatever you need, it's there. There's so many wonderful webinar replays as well that you can benefit from and also to observe and to learn from. Guys, also remember that I have written 18 books. 18, 1-8. And one of many among them are Metaphysical Anatomy and Psychosomatics for Children. So this one is a Psychosomatics for adults. This one is a Psychosomatics for kids. So these books are super popular. People love it. If you want to learn more about how your body works, understanding messages behind it, maybe you have that gnawing pain or maybe an ailment that's surfacing and you want to understand what is it that your body is trying to tell you. Guys, these books are going to be absolutely invaluable to you. You can find it at evettebooks.com where you will also find all my other 18 books. And guys, also remember to keep asking all these great questions. I love to answer your questions at Ask Evette, where we discuss, life conundrums and, life challenges and just answer questions perhaps where you feel, quite stuck in your life. I would love to share my perspective with this and to help you to resolve perhaps certain pain points that you might be having in your life as well. So guys, remember to stay in touch. There's so many great things that's happening. And also something really awesome is that this book is already also in video format. So imagine 679 medical elements in video format, and also with meditations and healing courses, workshops, masterclasses, everything behind that in our platinum membership site. So guys, remember to check that out. There is so many great things happening there. So see you there.